welcome back to my channel. I'm Carla Ryder, the DJ chef, and today we are going to make spaghetti squash. Now I know that there's a lot of people that love pasta, love spaghetti, but if you want a healthier alternative to spaghetti that tastes just as good, I'm going to teach you how to do that. Does that not look amazing? This is what we are cooking today, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. Spaghetti squash bowls that we're going to make today are taco spaghetti squash bowls. Let's start off with the meat. I like to kind of mix it up a bit, mix up the meats. I have lean ground beef and I have lean ground pork. Are you ready? Let's go. So for the beef and the pork, I'm not going to put any butter, I'm not going to put any oil or anything like that because it's going to create its own grease. So in goes the pork, in goes the beef. As our meat continues to cook, it's time to get these in the oven. Now a lot of people have a really hard time cutting through spaghetti squash, or they don't know how to do it. Here is a little secret. Get them, put them in the microwave for 5 minutes and it will soften them up and you'll be able to cut them. I've got the spaghetti squash in the microwave, I've got the meat on the stove, so I'm going to start cutting up some of the vegetables that we're going to be putting in our taco spaghetti squash bowls. Peppers, bunch of different color peppers. So our spaghetti squash is done in the microwave and they're a little hot, but they should be a lot easier to cut. Now I usually just cut a little tiny bit of this end off. Just to make it easier to cut, so you're not cutting through that. Then you want to cut them lengthwise. There we go. Cut off the end. There we go. Some of them are really, really hard to cut, so you just take your time and cut it slowly. And that's why I like to put it in the microwave. It makes it a little easier to cut. Now, it's going to smell kind of like pumpkin, actually, when you open it up, and it's going to look like a pumpkin. So what you want to do is, just on the inside there, you want to get a spoon and you want to scrape out just that middle part there. You'll see seeds, and you just want to get just that middle part out. So once you have those middles hollowed out, you don't want to scrape that side because this is going to be your spaghetti. Now you might be thinking, I don't understand. If you've never made these before, you will very, very soon. What you need is a little bit of olive oil, and you want to brush some olive oil on the inside, just a little bit, nothing crazy, okay? Just a touch of olive oil, and that's it. And on this outside area, right there. This is what's going to become your spaghetti. And once you've got those oiled, we're gonna put them in the oven for 45 minutes. My oven is set to 350. All right, so this is where the taco comes in. I went and bought some Old El Paso taco seasoning, and you could use any kind of seasoning that you like. Now this seasoning can be pretty intense, so if you want a very intense taco flavor, it's up to you. So you want to add this taco seasoning pretty much when the meat is cooked at the end here. All right, so I've got some stuff chopped up here and we are ready to make our meat mixture. I've got some chopped up white onion, I've got some chopped up green peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, orange peppers. I've got some chopped up parsley, chopped up basil, and about 3 cups of old cheddar cheese because I like the taste of the stronger cheese. Now we're gonna grab our meat from the stove and that is going to go right into this bowl. And you basically want to let that meat cool for a bit because if you don't, once you put your cheese in, it's going to melt. So you kind of want to wait till that cools down a bit. And while we're doing that, I'm going to give just a slight little cook on our peppers and our onions. Now since I have some of the grease from the meat, we're actually going to use that so it has that taco meat flavor in our peppers. If you are vegetarian, you can make these without putting the meat in. You can put a whole bunch of vegetables, mushrooms, peppers, it doesn't matter. So as I mentioned, we are doing a very light saute on our onions and our peppers. That's all we want. And then we're going to put that to the side. It's been about 45 minutes and I want to show you what the spaghetti squash looks like. How do you know when the spaghetti squash is ready? If you look up close, you'll notice strands. See the strands? And this is the fun part. This is the part where you learn why it's called spaghetti squash. So I've pulled a little bit away with my fork, and as you can see, now it's a little hot because I just pulled it out of the oven. So I'm going to grab a little piece of paper towel to hold that. You just don't want to burn your fingers. So what you want to do is you want to go side to side. So it's going to start to look like that. And once you've got that whole section hollowed out, this is what it's going to look like. And it looks like spaghetti, right? A lot of people get rid of the outer shell, but today we are keeping them, and I'll show you why. Now, if you wanted to use spaghetti squash just like this, with a little bit of tomato sauce or meat sauce, this is how it's like spaghetti, right? So you can serve this with a little bowl of sauce on the side, and it tastes so delicious. But we're gonna go one step further. We have our pork ground beef mixture. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a little bit of parsley, a little bit of basil. And then we're gonna start folding in the spaghetti squash. This is gonna be so good, oh my gosh. And it's pretty easy to make. So you're gonna start mixing that around with your meat. Now before I continue mixing, I'm going to add a little more of this taco seasoning on top of the spaghetti squash. Let's not forget about our sauteed peppers and onions. We're gonna get that in there. This smells really good. I just want to eat this like, you could eat this like that. And I'm gonna add just a little handful of my cheddar cheese. Okay, let's do this the right way. Okay. Now you can feel it. You can feel it with your hands. You can get it mixed in properly. This is the part where you can add a little more taco seasoning, if you like. I'm gonna add a little bit more parsley here. And I'm gonna add a little more cheese in there. Clean hands now. This is my favorite part. Once you have the mixture mixed, what you want to do is scoop it back into the spaghetti squash shell. So once you've got those bowls filled, then our last step is to get some cheese on top. Then a touch of parsley on top for some color, and some basil. Oven's at 350 and we're putting these back in the oven. Those of you that know me know that I love my Nespresso. Now last episode, if you watched it, we made a cold Nespresso drink. This time we're gonna do pretty much the same drink because it was so damn good. Oh my God. I wanted to have 10 of them last time. But we're gonna make pretty much the same drink, but just a little bit differently. I've already made my espresso. We've got the Arancino. And last time I put whole milk in. This time, I'm putting some almond milk. Now you can use any kind of milk that you like. Almond milk, cashew milk, whole milk, 1%, skim milk, 2%. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you like. Now, some of you that have the Arancino didn't even know that you could do hot and cold. You press it once, it'll turn red. That's frothing it hot. You hold it for about 5 seconds. It turns blue, and you're cold frothing. Now, once again, if you like it a bit sweeter, last time I just put regular sugar in, this time I'm going to put a little bit of stevia, just a more natural alternative to sugar. All right, she's done. Let's get this drink started. So we're going to just pour the milk. I'm gonna go about halfway because we have a lot of espresso. Once again, this is almond milk that I'm using today. We've got our already made espresso. It's always so interesting how it layers itself. So you know the milk is a little bit heavier. The coffee is your second layer. And then your foam sits on top. Now, as I've mentioned before, some people like to sprinkle it with cinnamon. Some people like to put caramel on top of it. I'm just a plain coffee person. I just want the espresso and the almond milk. Okay, let's try this one today. It's actually really nice with the stevia rather than white sugar. I think I've died and gone to heaven. This is so good. I wish I could make you one right now. Now that espresso's done, let's get back to making that spaghetti squash. Remember, everything was cooked. So if you decided that tonight is not the night that you're gonna eat these spaghetti squash, or if you wanna make extra, which I usually do a lot, I actually wrap them up and I freeze them. Or you can plate it and eat it right away, which in my opinion is the best way. So here's the finished product. I added a little bit of salsa on the side because of the fact that they are tacos. And all you need to do is get a fork and dig in.